Don't forget to sign up for your free trial of Hulu Plus. Hulu Plus lets you binge on thousands of hit shows, anytime, anywhere, on your TV, PC, smartphone, or tablet. Support this podcast and get an extended free trial of Hulu Plus when you go to huluplus.com/John. That's huluplus.com/JON. Or click the Hulu Plus banner on John Lovitz Vodcast Network.com. We're starting. Hello, and welcome to Lovitz or Leavitz. Today, my guest is my good friend, professional tennis player, Vince Spadea.
Thanks. Hey.
Vince and I, Vince was on the pro tour. You know, a lot of tennis players in LA say they're pros, but they're not. No. But Vince actually was. He was on the ATP tour, the world tour, for 18 years. He got ranked as high as 18th in the world, and he was in the Olympics twice, 2 different Olympics. What year was it?
1923.
1923.
1973.
And 73.
Took a nap for 50 years. No, 2000, 2004.
And
Sydney and Athens.
sorry about the switching. We have a new switcher who's blind. And he was in the Davis Cup. Anyway, we'll be talking to him, but before that, we need to talk about our sponsors. This particular show is sponsored, Vince, by Hulu Plus. Do you know what that is?
No. Is it Hawaiian?
No. You know, Hulu, of course, you can watch TV shows on the internet, but Hulu Plus, it lets you binge on thousands of hit shows anytime, anywhere on your TV, PC, smartphone, or tablet. And well, if you support this podcast, you get an extended free trial of Hulu Plus. When you go to huluplus.com/John, Jon, that's my name. So that's huluplus.com/JON. Or click the Hulu Plus banner on John Lovitz Vodcast Network.com. But it's pretty amazing because, Vince, when you were growing up, did you have where there were certain TV shows you were a kid and you go, oh, I got to run home and watch it?
Yeah, actually, I was just showing my girlfriend, who's younger than me by a bit, a couple of my favorite shows, Different Strokes and Silver Spoons.
Those were your favorite shows?
Yep, absolutely. They were back-to-back. I was about 13. It's kind of like Ricky Schroeder's age.
All right.
Oh, yeah. Great shows.
We used to watch, I remember Star Trek and Bewitched.
Oh, yeah, I like those too. Mr. Belvedere.
But you had to be home. But now, Hulu Plus, you can watch anything, anytime.
Very cool. Look into that.
Well, I want to talk to you about your career. Vince and I, we met at a charity tournament that Chris Everett has in Boca Raton, Florida, where Vince is from. And I met Chris Everett when she hosted Saturday Night Live when I was on the show. And then a mutual friend of ours, Maeve Quinlan, who also played tennis on the tour, told me Chris has a charity tournament, so I went to it, and that's where I met Vince. And he was, obviously, I was the pro and he was the celebrity. Well, I'm sorry, I was the celebrity and he was the pro. But I've been taking tennis lessons since 1988 with Alex Olmedo, who was a Wimbledon champion and beat Rod Laver, and I'd go on and on about the guy. He's a great guy. So I told Vince about him, and what did you think when we first met and I started telling you about this guy?
Well, at first I thought you were a comedian who thought he knew something about other things like tennis, and I didn't think that was really going to come to fruition. But, some of the things when you started talking, you started making a little sense. So I was okay, maybe this guy's smarter than just playing stupid. And then I just started thinking, wow, he's really making sense. And interesting for me, because I've been in the tour for so long and playing for 20, 30 years, to hear what the old school theories were, and you learn from such a great legend from the history. So it's like going in any business and sort of researching the history of what made that successful to start with. So tennis,
Right.
a legend, a guy who won Wimbledon. It's interesting to hear some of those components.
And he beat the player, Rod Laver, who was considered the greatest player of his generation. But that was in 1959, Alex won. But your career is from 93 to...
92 to 2000, and actually I got on the tour in 1990 when I was 17.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
So it's wrong.
Yeah, 90
on Wikipedia.
90 to 2010. Well, I was on the. I had a.
So that's 20 years.
Yeah, I had a world ranking at 17,
Wow.
16 and a half.
20-year tennis career.
Yeah.
That's impressive to me because...
I got my first world ranking in Hawaii. I went to
did?
Hawaii. Yeah, Hawaii
And what
had
was
a
that?
big circuit. When was that?
No, what was your ranking?
It was minimal. It was about.
Well.
They rank about 1,600 players. I was like 900.
Really?
But yeah, I mean, it was
Well, see,
like the
that's
first
what's funny about it,
tranche.
because to you, you're like, oh, 900, that sucks. Well,
Well,
what is there,
16, I was 16.
50 million tennis players in the world, so and you were 900, which is
There's actually
gigantic to any a non-pro.
There's 30 million tennis players just in the U.S. alone.
Oh,
Yeah, that's a stat, and it's actually that was a stat a few years back. So I think it's grown since then.
so how many think you play tennis worldwide?
Oh, I mean, it'd be hard for me to say because in Europe and South America, it's a huge sport as well. It's like the second or third. It's actually more popular than it is in America. So I would say, I don't know, 80 million at
So if
least.
80 million, you were
80
ranked
to 100.
900, and yet that's considered you sucked.
And I was 16, so that's my excuse. But yeah, I sucked.
I remember you told me there's such a big gap between men's tennis and women's tennis. Like they'll talk about, oh, Serena Williams could play the men, and even she said no. And I said, how big a gap is there? What did you remember what you told me? You
For
played
Serena
Martina?
to play in the men?
Yeah,
Oh
you were
yeah.
trying
When
to
I was
explain to me.
16, I beat Martina Navratilova 6-0, 6-love on the center court of the U.S. Open in a practice match. Yeah,
And she was the number one female player in the world.
Yeah, absolutely.
And even then, it's. Let me ask you this, because a lot of the players play in high school, then they play in, college,
Right.
and then there's club players, and they all think they could be pro, but they're. I would say the word is delusional. What is it that they're not realizing? Like, people say to me, "Oh, are you a good tennis player?" And after with pros, I say, "Well, good for an amateur. I mean, but compared to a pro, it's like if I'm at level 3, you're at level 20. I mean, it's so, and each level is, twice as good as a level below. I mean, it's such a.
Well, I think it comes back to that Malcolm Gladwell, the 10,000 hour theory of people not hitting enough shots. So you can kind of see either subtly or in large discrepancies based on how long they've really put into the game of repeating and hitting shots. So we've honed our shots as pros so long, each hour, each day, and each year, that you can see it resonates in our artistry and our ability to do it under pressure. And when you see a college player or you see a high school player, you see someone who's an avid high-level player as a whatever age, you can see that difference because they just haven't honed their shots. Tennis is a game of rhythm, repetition, and definitely technique.
But then, there's a talent. Apparently, you were like excellent right off the bat. Like I read the first junior tournament you ever entered, you won.
Yeah, well, but my dad had us out there for hours and hours. I mean, he really put the time and effort, and my sisters and I would kind of practice with each other, so we were sort of like backboards for each other, and we sort of like just kind of played on each other's improvement, but we hit shots. Like I said, I'd go watch, a couple of those shows, Different Strokes, Silver Spoons, 4 o'clock after school. 4 o'clock we'd start. We'd play till 7, till dark, 7:30.
And weren't you heavier when you were a kid? You weren't.
I was a bit heavier. I mean, I wouldn't call myself PHAT. I would have called myself F8. I would have called myself, just nutritionally excited.
Well, but how old were you when you started? No, but you were out there playing. Like tennis to me, it's one of the toughest sports. It's not a contact sport, but it's individual, right? And what is it? 50 weeks a year.
Very tough sport, yeah.
And it's the only sport you're on the court. There's no coach.
There's no coach. I mean, it might be one of the most soul independently, thought-provoking, emotionally draining, and physically challenging sport there is out there. I think. I mean, I haven't studied every sport, but yeah, I'm sure you can find other sports that are difficult. But it's so hard to go out there and not understand what you're doing right and wrong, and you're thinking just on yourself. And there's so much technique, and the opposition is really tough all the time.
Well, when I know it's one of the few sports like boxing. Sometimes you see it, but you've never seen. I'm talking to my producer friend Mark. You've never seen a fat tennis player. You just don't see that, right? You see fat golfers.
Right.
But you never see.
No, I mean, I was heavier at 14. I mean, I think, Serena Williams is a strong girl, and she's obviously not, someone who is overweight, but she's someone who is strong. And I was sort of that version when I was 13 or 14. So if you have strength, you can, like I remember Jerome Bettis when he was a NFL player. He was bigger and stronger than everybody else that were running backs, even in that sport. You just gain more.
But he was big boned, correct?
Exactly. So you could let's call it big bone. Let's just
say like his arm was like two of mine, put together. That's one.
No,
of his
he was.
arms.
I mean, you could see everyone obviously is big in the
bigger.
NFL, but you could see him like even on the TV screen. He really took the cake when it came to mass and airtime.
Well, it seems to me the classic tennis player, their legs are like big. They have big legs, and then the waist up, they're very thin.
Right.
And my theory was because you're running around, so the less weight you have up top, the more you can run around. So if you're heavy, doesn't that tire you out?
It does tire you out unless you're fit. Like Serena's really fit, so she's strong and fit. Now, you don't want to be heavy and unfit. Obviously, that's going to tire you out. But if you can be bigger and stronger, look at Nadal. Nadal is bigger physically than Federer and Djokovic and Murray, and it helps him. And as you can tell, I mean, he goes longer distances. He's not heavy, correct. But he's bigger and stronger, and he's fit. So it allows him to get that edge. Look at LeBron. LeBron's not exact. He's probably weighs more than most the guys in the NBA, right? And
yeah, you think he's 260.
Yeah, he's pushing. I heard 300. So yeah, so he uses that in an explosive way because he's fit and he uses that mass to.
But you told me you
advantage.
could have been a baseball player too. You played Little League and you were a great pitcher.
Yeah, I played a lot of Little League. Yeah, I was competitive. I was playing in 2 different
So
leagues.
to be a professional athlete, what would you say the ratio is between athletic ability and the work you put in? If you have no athletic ability, can you just put in the work and become a pro tennis player? Or
I don't know. No athletic ability
you were,
is the way you want to go, but yeah.
Yeah, right.
I mean, obviously they always say hard work beats talent when talent doesn't work hard. Now, if the hard worker has zero talent, I mean, I think there's obviously a limit there, but they're gonna obviously advance to a certain level where normally they wouldn't. So they would maximize themselves, and where talent, they absolutely do nothing, then they probably wouldn't do as well as someone with no talent. Yeah, I agree.
All right. I'm John Lovitz. We're talking to ATP pro Vince Spadea, who's also a talent manager now, and he's had quite a career. He's also a rapper, and he's a best-selling author. And we'll be back talking about all that here on Lovitz or Leavitz.
Leave it.
I'm sure you've tried Hulu.com, but I want to tell you about Hulu Plus. Hulu Plus lets you watch thousands of hit shows anytime, anywhere. You can stream it on your TV or on the go with your smartphone or tablet. Why stand in line or ride a train and just stare at your feet? You could be watching your favorite shows on Hulu Plus. Hulu Plus, it is a great way to binge watch your favorite shows. Hulu Plus has tons of episodes from great comedies like SNL, Community, Modern Family, South Park, Family Guy, and thousands of other shows. Hulu Plus is only $7.99 a month. That's $7.99 a month for all the shows and movies you can watch. Catch up on current shows, binge on an old favorite, or catch a great movie. You can do it all on Hulu Plus. And right now, you can try Hulu Plus for a couple of weeks free on me when you go to huluplus.com/John. Please make sure you use huluplus/John, that's Jon, so you get an extended free trial, and so they know that we sent you. It helps us keep the lights on, and it gives you a better deal. Go to huluplus.com/John now, or click the Hulu Plus banner on John Lovitz Vodcast Network.com. Hi, John Lovitz here. It's time to put laughter back into your life. Check out the John Lovitz Comedy Club, located in the heart of Universal Studios City Walk, Los Angeles, not Orlando. For tickets, go to thejohnlovitzcomedyclub.com. Hello and welcome back to Lovitz or Leavitz. Today's show is brought to you by eVoice. You know what eVoice is, Vince?
Excellent voices.
No. This is, Vince, this is something I really think you should get for your business. This is what it is. You know, you're in business, they go, what's your number? Where do I call you, right? Well, what if you don't want to give out your cell phone? So you give out, you get a toll-free number.
Okay.
Right? Like you get an 800 number, or you can get a local number. It's up to you. You get a professional greeting. And then you can have all those calls routed to your cell phone. So you're not giving out your cell phone number, but you get the contact. And also what you can do is, they'll send you, if someone leaves a message, you'll get an email and a transcription of their message.
Wow.
And it's less than $10 a month.
Wow.
So it's like a receptionist for less than $10 a month.
Is it a female voice or?
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
And she's hot. So listen.
How do you know?
If you go, how do I know? Hello. Now, if you go to evoice.com and you enter the promo code Lovitz, Lovitz, Vince, is my last name, Lovitz, you get a 30-day free trial. So, Vince, try it. You can try it for a month for free. But that's pretty cool, isn't it?
Yeah,
People
very
go, what's
cool.
your number? You go, here's my 800 number.
No, that sounds really amazing.
And it's evoice.com, and the promo code is Lovitz, Lovitz. Or you can go to johnlovitzvodcastnetwork.com, and then you can click the eVoice banner, and you can sign up and get a month free. Anyway, we're talking to Vince Spadea, my friend and buddy, who I met at the Chris Everett charity tournament in Boca Raton. Vince was as high as 18 to the world, and that's amazing. You know, out of what? So 80 million players, you got to 18. And during your career, you beat, a lot of the players that are considered the best players ever in the history of tennis. So I'd like to talk to you about that. You beat, in your career, you beat Roger Federer, Pete Sampras, who obviously they'll be in the Hall of Fame. Agassi, who's in the Hall of Fame. Andre Agassi. When you beat Agassi, what was that like? Did you have a specific strategy for him?
I beat him in Cincinnati, Ohio the first time. It was a night match, like around 8 o'clock. So, packed center court. So a lot of fans of Agassi, probably 99% of them were Agassi fans. So it was always a great experience to play against him because he was like a rock star for tennis. So it was like going, you hear the shrieking of the girls and no matter what age or gender.
That's what I was going to ask you. When you're on the court playing, do you hear the fans yelling?
You can hear it. It's a bit intimidating because it's sort of like you feel like you're the enemy, you're the protagonist, and someone who's going to disrupt the hero, So,
really?
Yeah, that's what it's like when you play. Only against him did I really feel like that. Nadal wasn't quite as accomplished when I played him, so maybe it's like that with him.
But in Cincinnati, it was 2 out of 3 sets, correct?
It was 2 out of 3 sets, yeah.
But I read you beat him in the Australian Open in the 4th round?
I did that too, yeah.
And how many, that's
3 out of 5 sets.
3 out of 5?
Yeah. That was difficult. Well, the first,
And that's on the center court, I imagine?
Both were center courts, yeah, for sure.
But the
and he
Australian
played
Open,
center courts every
there's
time.
There's 4 grands. If you don't know, the Australian Open, they're like golf or whatever. There's a World Series. There's 4, the biggest tournaments in tennis. That starts with the Australian Open, and then there's the Wimbledon.
Yeah.
Right? And
yeah.
No, the Australian Open, the French Open, which is on clay, then Wimbledon, and then the U.S. Open. And those are the 4 biggest tournaments, the Grand Slams. And if you win those, you're considered one of the great players of tennis. And this was in a Grand Slam, so you have all the best players in the world. and so this was the fourth match of that tournament. So you won 3 in a row. You're in the fourth round, and you're against Agassi, who was, what was he ranked then?
I think he was top 2 or 3. I think he was one of the top seeds. I mean, I can't recall, but he won the Australian Open 3 times after that. I was actually part of a trivia question. They said name the last guy Andre Agassi lost to at an Australian Open.
Well, how many sets?
No one could get it.
Did you beat him?
Yeah. Not even me.
How many sets did you beat him by?
I won the first 2 sets, and then I lost the third, and then I won the fourth. But I remember at the fourth set, it was really hot. It's the summer season there in January, so it was like, and it's really humid.
Yeah, and because it's on the other side of the world.
Yeah.
So our winter is their summer.
Yeah, exactly.
Did you hear this a lot? Aussie, 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 oi, oi, oi. Did you hear that?
Yeah, many times.
Really?
Yeah, of course.
It's interesting because a lot of people don't know all Australians are Jewish and they speak Yiddish. Oi, oi, oi.
Not quite.
And,
maybe.
Maybe.
How would I know?
Exactly. So when you were in that fourth round, as you started winning him, what was going through your mind? Were you,
Well, I was getting tired, actually. One thing about Agassi, he was really fit. It was like really one of his biggest strengths, besides his 2 ground strokes, forehand his backhand. But fitness was probably his third biggest or equal strength to his ground stroke. So every time you played him, you'd always feel like, you're it's like running on a treadmill, and you're running strong, but you're exhausted, and you start getting a stitch, and you're like, okay, I'm really pushing myself here. And he was just one of these guys who kept going faster and faster and kept moving you more and more. The longer the match went, the more he was continually to just move you around. He was not getting tired. He was always really fit. So I was thinking, man, I'm running out of real estate here. I better go figure something out quickly, either beat him quickly. So I ended up losing the third set. But on the fourth set, I went up 4-3, and I literally could not even see straight. And I kind of had to go to the bathroom too, or I forced myself. And I went out to the bathroom.
Number 1 or number 2?
It was more like 3 or 4.
So in the middle of the match, you had diarrhea? Is that what you're saying?
That's not exactly what I meant. But that's what your 3 and 4 is.
I don't know what 3 and 4 is. Well,
3 and 4 is just spitting,
1 is
coughing.
2 is normal, and then 3.
Yeah, just a combination of 1, 2, 3, 4. It was an explosive body expression.
And you're known for that.
Based
What do you
on
always
nose,
say?
ear, throat.
Explode.
Yeah, I was just exploding. In the Australian Open will never
So did you take
forget me
a
again.
bathroom break?
Yeah, that's what you call it, or a men's room break.
Is that I don't know? You
washroom break
What do
in
you
Canada.
is that what it's called?
Yeah, you can actually request it. It's part of a bodily function that they can't medically
Did
force
you
you not
request
to.
it?
Yeah, I requested it.
And then how long were you in there?
2 days or so.
No, but where
It felt like 2 days,
is
but
it like 10 minutes?
no, they
as
don't.
long as you want?
No, it's as long as you want. I mean, you have to kind of give them an estimation of where you're at here. You're like, can I have a couple extra rolls? I'm just kidding. And an orange.
And so then were you like in there? Did that count as a rest break too? Did you just kind of hang in there? Go, I'm going to take a little couple minutes and just rest.
Yeah. I had a radio in my pocket. I got a air conditioning unit installed in the stall. I'm just kidding. No, yeah, you take a miniature break, but that's.
But
what
you were ahead at that point?
are.
4-3. You were ahead.
I was up 4-3. Yeah.
So then you come back from the break.
And I broke
And you
him in
felt
that game.
better?
I was fresh as a daisy.
You were?
Let me ask you a question. If you run 10 sprints in a row hard, and I say, listen, now start running the 11th, 12th, and 13th, or I just tell you, hey, go in the corner, take a sip of Gatorade and water, chill out for a little bit, and then go back and do the next 10. Do you think you're going to perform better stats in the first interim or the second?
Obviously.
Okay, so
yeah.
then there answers your question.
That's
I was
what happened.
very fresh.
Fresh after,
Not very fresh, but fresher than if I didn't get a break. It's like anything.
and then you won the next game, and then what? And then you won again? Close it out?
Yep. I broke him for 5-3, and then I served it out for 6-3.
Oh, you broke a serve.
Yeah, I broke a serve.
Broke a serve, if you don't know, means when you're playing tennis, and let's say Vince is serving to me and I win the game, that means I broke his serve.
Yeah, or I fractured his serve.
Oh, did you? That's amazing. But now I read that you beat Roger Federer. Roger Federer had 17 Grand Slam titles. He's often called the greatest player in the history of tennis, and you are one of 4 people to beat Roger Federer 6-love. You have to win 6 games to win a set. You beat him 6-0, or as my friend called it, a bagel. You annihilated him 6-0. What was that like?
Well, we played a first set tiebreaker, and I won it, and he sort of got a little bit demoralized. And then he ended up kind of playing a couple loose points here and there. All of a sudden you're down 3-0. Then you're angry about tennis is a tough sport. If you worry about too many things in the past or in the recent past, it affects the next step. So
if you lose a game, you just got to go. You always got to be in the now. You just go forget it.
Yeah. You have to have temporary memory loss. You have to be able to just get rid of whatever just happened and just focus on the next shot. It's called the power of now.
And he wasn't able to do that. You think
he was struggling.
During that
I think
match.
Federer. I don't know if people know this, but his biggest challenge has been his mental game and sustaining his temperament and being positive and realizing his potential and allowing himself to really flourish that way.
And obviously know him. I've met him a few times briefly. And everyone says he's like the nicest guy in the world.
He's a very nice guy.
No
very,
ego.
Yeah, well-mannered, respectful, not egocentric at all.
When you beat him, what year was this?
I think it was like 2001. He won his first Wimbledon in 2002. So it was like the year before.
Right before. Apparently you beat these guys and then they go on a tear and start winning.
Yeah, what happened with Nadal, I beat Nadal in November of 2004 and he won his first French Open 5 months later. And then I played him at Wimbledon the next week. After he won his first French Open, Nadal, I played him at Wimbledon a day later because the French Open ends on a Sunday and Wimbledon starts on a Monday or Tuesday. That's how it works. So I played him like a day after he won the French Open, and I lost to him at Wimbledon.
What's the difference between your strategy against Federer and your strategy against Nadal?
It's pretty much 2 different strategies because they have totally different styles of game.
Right.
So with Federer, you have to be able to hit the ball aggressively before he does because he has a lot more weapons than Nadal. Nadal wears you down more, so he's more of like a war, and he tires you out. He's a little bit like Agassi, except even more so, because his spins are really heavy and high. Agassi hits the ball through, and so does Federer. So Federer comes into the net, he hits aces, he's got that big lethal forehand, he hits the slice. So you have to when a guy plays great offense, you have to play offense on him because normally a person with a good offense doesn't have a good defense. In his case, he does defense pretty well. That's why he's so good. But,
Federer?
But if there's anything
who does defense pretty good?
Federer does it pretty well. Nadal does it the best of all time, probably. That's his
defense? His
quality is his defense, of course. Federer's quality is his offense. And against Federer, you have to be offensive against him because they say normally an offender doesn't defend very well. Whereas, like a guy like Michael Jordan did both great. Federer is similar to that, but at the same time, Jordan's still known as an offensive player.
Would you compare a tennis, except there's no contact, but would you kind of compare it to like boxing where it's one-on-one and you have to figure... Oh, we can go a little longer. That was the duck. Would you...
Well, it's like a Mike Tyson, you got to be careful that he knocks you out, right? So you've got to try to, the only times Tyson ever lost was when he got knocked out by like Buster Douglas or someone just popped him because... You can't just try to dance around him because once he hits you, you're pretty much done, right? So unless you maybe Muhammad Ali or something. So that's the offense. I would say like a Federer's like Mike Tyson with a better defense, and then Nadal was sort of like a Muhammad Ali in a way. He can go forever, but he can still kind of pop you during the whole thing.
So who is harder to beat?
Between
Agassi, Federer, and Nadal, and also you beat Pete Sampras, who's one of the greatest players of all time. Of those 4, did you find one of them harder to beat, or they were all?
they're difficult
Tough
in their
but
own
different.
ways. Yeah, I mean, it's hard to say. I mean, I think when you have a guy like Sampras or Federer where they have that lethal serve and they have a big forehand and they have some other weapons, it's like anything. It's like, if I'm great at one thing versus like Nadal's great at defense and he's a great mental player and he's got good ground strokes, very good ground strokes. But Nadal, Federer's good at serve, forehand, volleys, speed, fitness. He's got a slice, variety. So it's like he has 6 different departments to sort of open up and say, I'll beat you with this sword, and then I have another one. Whereas Agassi and Nadal, in my opinion, they were unbelievable at maybe 3 of those departments. They opened up from 3 departments, whereas Sampras and Federer had 5 or 6, I think.
Oh, really?
I honestly believe it. Yeah,
know.
I honestly believe that. And Nadal's now showing, what is he at 12 majors now? He's showing that he's so exceptional at those 3 or 4 that it's just tough to beat him. But he just wears you out. He's an unbelievable competitor.
Between the 4 of them, would you say they're all? Well, you said. Would you say they're all equally great, or would you say Federer and Sampras are pretty even, and then like Nadal and?
Yeah, I would say it'd be like Federer, and then just under Sampras, and just under Nadal, and just under Agassi.
Really?
I would take. I mean, Sampras and Nadal. I mean, we're talking.
If you could pick one of them to play doubles with against the other 2, who would you pick? Just for fun. I mean,
probably Federer. I'm just a fan of his game and his whole thing.
if you could have Federer or me against, say, Sampras and Agassi, who would you
obviously
pick?
towards you. Yeah. We're playing doubles now.
Exactly. I'm John Lovitz.
Winner.
We'll be right back with Vince Spadea on Lovitz, Leavitz. And we're going to talk about Vince is also a best-selling author. He wrote a book called Break Point. What was it? Secrets from
a pro tennis player.
Secrets from a pro tennis player.
Secret diary of a pro tennis
And we're going to
player.
find out some of those secrets when we come back. Don't forget to go to LegalZoom.com today and get 15% off your last will through the end of August. Or get a living trust, and you'll receive a pour-over will absolutely free. LegalZoom is not a law firm, but its step-by-step process was created by a team of top attorneys and experts in technology to provide self-help services at your specific direction. Get an extra discount when you type Lovitz. That's Lovitz in the referral box at checkout. LegalZoom.com. Hello, I'm John Lovitz, and we're back with my very special guest, pro tennis player Vince Spadea, and who's also a Hollywood manager now, but we'll be talking about that in the next part of the show. But before we do, I'd like to talk about our third sponsor, which is LegalZoom.com. Now, Vince, you started your own business. It's tough to do. But that's why you should really try LegalZoom.com. They've created a convenient way to get your business off the ground, and you save a ton of time and money. In other words, instead of going to a lawyer, it's been thousands of dollars, you can use LegalZoom.com, and it costs you maybe just a lot less. And if you go right now, you can create a corporation or an LLC. It starts only at $99.
Yeah, no,
which is like a lawyer will charge you a minimum of $1,000. And you just have to answer some simple questions online, Vince Spadea.
Oh.
And most people, I don't know about you,
sounds simple.
Most people get through the questionnaire in minutes. But Vince, I have to tell you something. LegalZoom is not a law firm. It's a step-by-step process that was created by a team of top attorneys and experts in technology to provide self-help services at your specific direction. And you can create a will, a living trust, a name change, as well as DBAs. You know what that is?
Yeah.
What?
A
DBA, what is that?
It's
I didn't know.
It's a business. It's like a business based on an individual.
No, DBA, doing business as.
Yeah, as an individual.
I don't. Maybe you're
I
right.
have DBA. That's why I know.
Trademarks. You can trademarks, patents, more, and well, you can launch your dream business right now at LegalZoom.com. Just do it. And oh, by the way, don't forget, Vince, you get an extra discount when you type my name, Lovitz, in the referral box at checkout. Yeah, that's right. You can save more by typing my name, Lovitz, in the referral box at checkout. So go to LegalZoom.com. Promo code is Lovitz, Lovitz, my last name. And now we're going to talk to Vince Spadea about his book. What was your book? Was one of the it was a bestseller. What is the title of it? The full title?
Breakpoint: The Secret Diary of a Pro Tennis Player.
Now, isn't there? You wrote about what really happens backstage at a tour, and isn't there some
Secret.
Is there an unwritten law you're not supposed to talk about that stuff, or no? Am I wrong?
There's a law?
Not a law. I said an unwritten.
Oh, yeah.
Like they go, whatever happens in the locker room stays in the locker room. Like when you took that break on that Agassi match, everyone goes like, Vince, what's he doing? 1 or 2? They go, he's doing 3 or 4, but keep it back here.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I didn't talk about anything that was in the locker room. I didn't see anything in the locker room other than what was an unwritten law.
Were you ever in the girls' locker room?
And no, wasn't interested in that world of.
Oh.
I mean, as far as tennis
Do
players.
we have an exclusive?
a tennis player?
Are you coming out on this show?
No.
You just said you weren't interested.
Female
Oh, in the
tennis
female
players were sort of like my peers, so I never dated any or did any like locker room stalking. Like
Weren't
maybe,
interested in the players.
Were you interested in that, or I do have connections if you want.
No, I'm too old now.
I can get you a VIP pass.
No, you have a beautiful girlfriend, but
I know. Right?
let me ask you as a fan, what are some of the things that happened that would say really surprise tennis fans that they don't know? Or can you talk about any of that? Some things that they go, boy, if they only knew what really happened, say during a certain tournament or match, and you read about it and the sports writers write about it, and you go, they have no idea what really happened.
Well, yeah. I mean, it depends. Right. Based on it's. I think in every market, there's people who are idolized or they're followed by a certain fan base. So what happens is the fans are always, or even like, hey, John Lovitz, what's he like? They want to know. They want to know, is he really funny in person? Is he, sad? Is he happy? Is he whatever? So. These guys in tennis, I was basically kind of giving people my impressions of the experiences I had. Like Federer's a really nice guy in person. It's kind of reassuring to know,
Yeah.
The famous adage, you never want to meet your heroes because you'll always be disappointed. Because people are interested in that. So I was interested in sort of giving people the fair shake on what that was about. And in terms of, because I wanted to give people that light. It wasn't about doing anything gossip driven or anything where it was negative connotations to anyone's image or career. It was about, let's see what we're about.
Really?
I'm a perfect person. So let's talk about everybody else.
Well, there were a couple of players in there that you didn't. I guess nobody gets along with everybody.
Yeah, for example, there's always going to be that group,
But what I find interesting, the one reason we became friends, although he hasn't been showing it yet, Vince is actually has a big personality. Like a lot of these guys, they're very nice guys. I like the players.
Yeah.
But Vince is like, he's really funny. He does all these expressions. You were known as a rapper. Why do you think that you had such a personality? And these other guys, are they they're just like robots? They have no personality? And you I'll tell you one, like Pete Sampras, who I met, and I got to know. Everyone said, oh, he has no personality in this. I actually got to play with him, hit with him. Pete Sampras is very funny. He actually has a very big personality. He's a very nice guy, and he's very funny, a very dry sense of humor. And I said, why didn't you ever show this when you were playing tennis? He said, I wanted to keep it separate because I just thought I'll keep my personality off the court. But you, on the other hand, were very open about it. Why do you think you were open and the other guys are Are they closed to it, or they have no personality? They're just playing tennis their whole life, so they don't develop other parts of their brain.
Yeah, that's it. No.
Well, what is it? What do you think?
Well, I just think, I mean, you're so consumed with one subject, and it has really nothing to do with talking. We're taught not to talk when we're playing tennis. We have to, keep our thoughts and our actions and our emotions sort of internally, and so we're trained to do that. So that may have something to do with it inherently, that we're always trying to sort of inhibit ourselves as expressors. So but at the same time, I think that there was a lot of personality in the locker room or on the circuit, and it wasn't exposed or revealed just correctly, just because sometimes we only get like a quick interview, or some people are emotional and sometimes they're not too happy after they lose, or if they're happy when they win. There's like Goran Ivanisevic was really funny in his press conferences, and I just think
Djokovic does impressions. He's funny,
right? And the only chance you really get to understand what the personality is like is based on an interview or based on a television sort of setup. So, and many times if you put a camera in front of somebody, they change their personality. So it's they're not used to doing that. They're used to playing tennis in front of
who are the players that you thought that made you laugh? Were there any besides yourself?
I love making myself laugh. Who else made me laugh? Nadal makes me laugh. He's funny.
Oh, right.
Oh, yeah, he is.
What was your phrase? You made up a phrase, Spadea.
I ain't afraid of ya.
There's that. Do you have any raps you can remember?
Thanks for letting me know, but no.
Oh, I'm sorry. I failed to inform Vince to bring his personality.
On the radio.
So the book's called
This is your
Breakpoint. You can get it on Amazon or Kindle. And then tell us about your tennis DVD. Play Like a Pro?
Oh, yeah, that's right. I forgot about that. Yeah, I have 6 DVD set, Play Like a Pro DVD. It's an instructional. We go over every basic from the grips to the technique all the way to match play and strategy. So, yeah, that was fun. That was really good shit.
If people did everything on those DVDs, if they could do it all, could they be a pro player?
Yes.
Really?
Yeah, from age, you have to play 5 years and use them every day and practice 3 hours a day. And
when you were a kid, how many hours a day were you playing? When you were like, say, 11?
Oh, I probably played 3-4 hours. 3-4 hours.
Did you like it?
3-4 hours is fun. Yeah, it's good. Yeah, I mean, it goes by, I was with my sisters. It was like kind of family affair type thing. So it's fun. Yeah, I mean, you get snacks out there and Subway or whatever.
And what's interesting is you said one of your sisters has 2 kids, and she's doing the same thing with her kids. How old are they? In 10 and 8 in golf.
Yeah, they're playing.
And you have a niece. Yeah. What does her talk about? This is amazing.
My niece won the world championship in Pinehurst, North Carolina, just recently, like 3 weeks ago, and she in the 10 and under. So she's the world champion. She was down by like 3 strokes in the going into the final round, and she had like 6 or 7 birdies in a row. She won by 3 strokes.
And pros don't do that.
And she practiced 5 hours a day.
And how old is she?
She's 10 or 9 or 10.
9, and so she's.
I gotta call her and find out.
And does she love it?
She loves it. Yeah, she's competitive. You can see that instinct.
And your nephew, her brother, does he? He likes it.
He likes it too. He's a very good player as well. I mean, the boys. It's like there's so many boys playing. I think these are so competitive out there, and it's a worldwide tournament. So she beat a girl from China actually in the final round, who was actually with the lead. So yeah, it was pretty amazing.
And what's her name? We should keep an eye out for her.
Yeah, I mean, you actually can Google her now. You'll find all the.
What's her name?
Stats. L-E-L-L-E and Nachman, N-A-C-H-M-A-N-N-N.
L. Nachman.
Yeah, L. Nachman. Yeah, you can Google her.
So that'd be amazing that you'd have like 2 pro athletes in your family.
Yeah, no, that'd be great.
2 different sports.
That'd be great. I'm the old, former everything.
There's not a lot of pro Jewish athletes.
Aaron Crickstein and his niece, they were great champions too.
Yeah, 2.
Well, they're niece and uncle. It's pretty cool. She won a major.
Except for the girl from Israel, Shar. There's just, I don't know, they're always saying, don't do that. studying this. And any kid, though, especially growing up out here, they all want to do sports.
Yeah.
They really do. But they're kind of pushed away from it, which I think is unfortunate. Let me ask you, I know a lot of people know, did you get a lot of the female players, like, pregnant, and then it was a big mess? Did that ever happen?
What?
Just asking. It's just a question.
How dare you go there?
It was on Twitter. No?
It was on Twitter.
Did you,
Forget about Twitter. Let's talk about what's going on below the desk. Where are your hands right now? Just kidding. Show them. TSA report.
Well, when we come back, we're going to talk to Vince Spadea about his new career, which is as an actual manager in Hollywood. And if you're an actress out there and you need a break, or an actor, Vince can help you. We'll be right back. I'm John Lovitz. This is Vince Spadea. Hi, John Lovitz here. It's time to put laughter back into your life. Check out the John Lovitz Comedy Club, located in the heart of Universal Studios City Walk, Los Angeles, not Orlando. For tickets, go to thejohnlovitzcomedyclub.com. Hello, I'm John Lovitz, and it's summer. Don't be stuck in your office all day. Get started with a free 30-day trial of eVoice. eVoice gives you a toll-free or local number, so you can take business calls from anywhere and always sound like you're at the office. Also, eVoice has great features like dial by name directory, and it even transcribes your voicemails so you can read them at your convenience. Go to evoice.com and enter promo code LOVITZ for your 30-day free trial. That's evoice.com, promo code LOVITZ, that's spelled Lovitz, or go to the John Lovitz Vodcast Network.com and click the eVoice banner. Hello, and welcome back to Lovitz or Leavitz with my special guest, Vince Spadea, 20-year tennis pro career. That made no sense. He was a pro tennis player for 20 years. And then, as it happens, any athlete, the career comes to an end, and they have a transition. And Vince has a very interesting transition into a new career. And I know you moved here in Los Angeles. You're trying to figure out, what do I want to do? And you called me up one day, and you started a company called?
Six Star Ventures.
And it was, Vince is very funny, and it was kind of a comedy thing. And then you would started booking models. Just tell us about it. And then it expanded to actors, actresses, and it's like a real business you've got going now.
Yeah, I started, I was friends with the family from Ford Models, the company that started Ford Models. The family that started Ford Models. And they were like, hey, you travel a lot. Why don't you start, looking for, if you see anyone who you say, wow, at an airport, send us an email. Maybe it'll be convenient. We can figure out a time to meet.
They made you a talent scout.
Yeah, so sort of like a model scout, or actually exactly like a model scout. And then, but I was still on the tour, so it was just more of a casual thing. And then started becoming more like an intense thing when I started getting, towards the end of my career. And then I'm based in South Florida, so I would go to Miami and do it there. And, even the suburbs of Florida, which is the best place to scout people. So then that's kind of like developed into something like, hey, this is fun, it's I have at least, I always believe in having some mentorship, and whether it was tennis and a tennis coach, or in anything, it's, if you can learn from someone who knows what they're doing, and obviously they were the best at that, so it was kind of fun to learn.
So you started doing that?
I started doing that, and then I had a place out here in LA for my tennis career. I had a tennis coach out here, and then I ran into you. At that charity actually in Florida, and then I was always coming back out here, and then we meet up and so on. But anyways, And then I started coming out here more permanently after my career, and I said, yeah, with this, I'm in the business. It's like a dashboard for entertainment. So why would I not touch any of these buttons and at least try to like let something fly, And so, so the bottom line is, I started expanding, because I don't want to just like walk around and be like, hi, I am a model scout. Oh, that's a great full-time job.
Right.
Maybe some sleazy guy will think it's like cool, but that's
you've built this business in a relatively short time, and you're getting a lot of people, actors, actresses.
So now I have 6 Star Ventures, and basically the idea was it would be like a holdings company, and I'd have like sort of like a star would represent each division, and modeling would be one, and acting, and production, and any type of branding or merchandising, and actually
Right.
I invested in a restaurant out here, so there's sort of like that investment strategy business type thing that I
Well,
like
if a girl's watching this and wants to model or act, where can they contact you? This business.
They can contact me at 310. No, they can contact me at 6starventures.com. Now it's the number.
What is it?
6starventures.com. It's the number
6starventures.com.
Yeah, it's the numeric 6.starventures.com. Plural.
6
Ventures. Yeah. If you're
Star Ventures.
If you're older, we have
.com.
a site called 6stardentures.com. You can apply there as well. Just kidding.
Then those are for people who've only had the 3 or 4 bathroom situation. Is that correct?
That would be good. That 3 or 4.
I have no idea. What the hell is 3 or 4?
4 is scary.
I know what 1 is.
3 is
2
manageable. 4 is just another level.
Is 4? So you were in a tennis match.
I just made it
and
up
you had to
now.
go to the bathroom number 4, and it was literally like you were melting.
Melting. There was sweat.
How much weight did you lose?
It was like, you had the automatic, flushers, so that was creating some 4-type syndrome. I had stuff on my hands.
And this is the guy you want for your manager. But Vince is actually very good at it.
Stop.
What was that transition, though, between... Remember you said it's the toughest part of an athlete's career. When you stop playing, it's all you've been doing since you're 3 years old, and you go, now what do I do, right?
Yeah, well, I think...
And you seem you're happier now and everything's better, but
Yeah.
it was a little rough at first, right?
I enjoy, yeah, for an athlete, it's a very interesting transition. It's like you have this incredible commitment and lifestyle of just doing one thing, and then it just ends. It's like a death. It's like, okay, now I have to pick it up.
As a tennis player,
different.
I remember you said you don't understand. You're traveling basically 50 weeks of the year. You're traveling all over the world constantly.
Yeah. No, absolutely.
And all
yeah.
of a sudden it just...
Yeah, you're playing tennis, you're exercising, you're healthy, you're traveling, you have a good business going, you have a life, you have friends around the life, you've built your whole structure, and I've grown up, so you're sort of a young person being,
and you're playing in front of
build the
thousands of
mold.
people. It's exciting.
Yeah.
It's really like performing live in front of thousands of people.
And then it'd be
Stadium.
like saying, John, you're never allowed to do anything ever again in entertainment. It's just cut off. It's dead as a doornail. It'd be difficult. You'd be like, let me see. Do I like real estate? Do I like,
I don't know what I
whatever. Like, do I like insurance? Do I like business?
No.
Yeah. So,
No.
do I want to open up a John Lovitz comedy club? You
No.
have a lot of things.
By the way, we are broadcasting live right now from the John Lovitz Comedy Club and Podcast Theater at Universal City Walk in Los Angeles. We have some great shows. August 23rd, by the way, I will be interviewing Gene Simmons live on stage at the club. So go to John Lovitz, the JohnLovitzComedyClub.com for tickets for Gene Simmons. It's going to be very, very interesting. But that transition was tough. What advice do you have, say, for anybody who has to suddenly make a big career transition, like you did, whether they're an athlete or not? What did you learn? What advice would you give people?
Well, you have to learn that, obviously life goes on, and, we're happiest as people to challenge ourselves, wake up in the morning and understand that we have ambition. Now,
Eyes up, please.
Set the ambition. Yeah, I just can't keep my eyes off you. That's the problem.
Eyes up.
Okay, so the bottom line is, yeah, pick something that you enjoy. Obviously, a mentorship type scenario would be the best, because obviously I know a lot about tennis, but at the same
Sorry,
time...
the switcher's drunk.
But at the same time, I also enjoy helping people, molding careers. I was once a young talent, so now I enjoy taking people and help. Life is all about decisions, and career-wise, personally, so I try to help facilitate better decisions based on my experiences and others.
I remember one thing I said to you was, you're going to get into this, and I said to you, listen, a lot of people come out to Los Angeles to act. 90% say they want to do it, but they really don't. Have you found that to be true?
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, no, you
It's
gave me
weird,
some great
isn't it?
advice for sure. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's same thing in tennis though. A lot of people practice a lot of tennis, but they don't really have that mentality to be successful, and that's the key. Is like, you go to somebody, you have to have that mentality, and you have to have that urgency and ambition.
That's my ass.
Wow, that's a 3.5. Sounds like.
Did you know what I find interesting too? You tell me about some of the people you're working with, and it's actually the people that are. I don't want to say any names, but they may not be so talented, but they're really driven, and they're the ones getting the work,
Right.
As opposed to people who are actually talented,
Absolutely.
but they've no drive.
Absolutely.
They don't call you. They don't follow through.
Right. The talent.
Don't show up for auditions that you set up.
Right. Normally, the talent has it's like I was saying about Federer. He was really talented, but mentally he was challenged to stabilize himself during matches. And once
He would talk
do
about
that,
it. He would explode in anger a lot.
yeah,
right?
you
talks
can
about
see
that.
YouTubes of him or other players like Marat Safin busting their rackets, cracking their rackets open, because they didn't have sustainability to really focus on their on their matches.
I remember Marat Safin was 20, and he played in the final of the U.S. Open, and he beat Sampras, and he beat him. Sampras is great, but he beat him like pretty easy. He beat him. He was so dominant in that match; it was crazy. And but you beat Safin. What did you think of his talent as a player?
He was an incredible talent, and he
was known as the best athlete out there, wasn't he?
Yeah, he had unbelievable power. He combined power with, being tall and, just very, very. He was limber too. Like he was agile. He could move.
Fast.
He was a good athlete. Could serve. He really had the weapons. But Marat Safin.
So he had everything as a player, right? He was one of the most. I mean, I had to hear he's the best athlete out there. I would hear that a lot. I think
Absolutely.
You told me that.
Yeah, no, absolutely. He could hit harder than anyone. He was very consistent, great technique, very driven, but at the same time,
What was the?
too impulsive, too capricious in his mentality through his racket. Temperament was unstable. So therefore, he never maximized his potential, because when you have inconsistent
So he had all the
behavior,
talent, like he was more talented than anybody.
yeah.
And yet mentally, he just didn't.
He just couldn't stabilize his talents so that it could allow it to flourish the way it should. It takes discipline, though. It's not easy, and that's why and that's why I love the challenge of doing that in acting and modeling, to see who really has that sustainability. But then the ones that are, I'm not finding are as talented. So I got to find the
Weird,
combination.
isn't it? Yeah. Well, I hope you enjoyed this chat with my good friend Vince Spadea. The book, again, is called Breakpoint, The Secret Diaries of a Pro Tennis Player. It's on Amazon.com and Kindle.
Barnes & Noble.
And Barnes & Noble. And then
Books A Million.
And now you're a manager. What is it? Six Star Ventures?
Six Star Ventures, yeah.
And you can reach Vince at sixstarventures.com. But you're is that on the web too? They can look it up.
Yeah, absolutely.
If you forget.
Yeah, just Google Six Star Ventures. You'll find a lot. Twitter and Instagram.
Well, Vince, thank you for coming on the show and those insights in the tennis world. I find it very interesting. I am John Lovitz. You've been watching Lovitz or Leavitz.
I've got to go.
Here at the John Lovitz Podcast Network.com. Brought to you by the John Lovitz Comedy Club and Podcast Theater at Universal Studio. Goodbye, everybody. Goodbye. Now that the show is over, don't forget to sign up for your free trial of Hulu Plus. Hulu Plus lets you binge on thousands of hit shows, anytime, anywhere, on your TV, PC, smartphone, or tablet. Support this podcast and get an extended free trial of Hulu Plus when you go to huluplus.com/John. That's huluplus.com/JON. Or click the Hulu Plus banner on John Lovitz's vodcastnetwork.com. Also, don't forget to go to LegalZoom.com today and get 15% off your last will through the end of August. Or get a living trust, and you'll receive a pour-over will absolutely free. LegalZoom is not a law firm, but its step-by-step process was created by a team of top attorneys and experts in technology to provide self-help services at your specific direction. Get an extra discount when you type LOVITZ. That's Lovitz in the referral box at checkout. LegalZoom.com. Hello, I'm John Lovitz, and it's summer. Don't be stuck in your office all day. Get started with a free 30-day trial of eVoice. eVoice gives you a toll-free or local number, so you can take business calls from anywhere and always sound like you're at the office. Also, eVoice has great features like dial by name directory, and it even transcribes your voicemails so you can read them at your convenience. So now that the show is over, go to evoice.com and enter promo code Lovitz for your 30-day free trial. That's evoice.com, promo code Lovitz, that's spelled Lovitz. Or go to the John Lovitz Vodcast Network.com and click the eVoice banner.